You want to change your life? Start by cleaning your room. Sounds simple, right? But if you can't bring order to the chaos in your own space, how can you possibly bring order to the rest of your life? The truth is, your future depends on the discipline you build today. So here's the question. What's the cost of not getting your act together, and how do you begin right now? Start by cleaning your room. Before you try to change the world, put your own house in order. Order your environment and you begin to order your mind. It's a practical first step toward reclaiming control and responsibility over your life. Let's talk about why something as simple as cleaning your room is not just tidying up. It's a symbolic and practical act of reclaiming your life. You see, your external environment mirrors your internal state. If your room is cluttered, if your desk is a disaster, your mind is likely tangled in a similar mess. You can't think straight in chaos. And when you clean that room, when you bring order to your space, you're not just doing chores. You're telling yourself, I have control here. I'm capable of improving something. I'm starting with what's within reach. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. You start with one drawer, one shelf, one pile of laundry, and with every item you organize, you send yourself a powerful message. You are not helpless. You have agency. And that matters, especially when life feels out of control. Now, don't underestimate this step. Cleaning your room isn't trivial. It's a test. It's a proving ground. Because if you can't take responsibility for your own space, how can you possibly take responsibility for anything larger? A relationship, a job, a purpose. And here's the beauty. As your room becomes ordered, so does your day. You walk differently. You speak with more clarity. You start making your bed, writing things down, showing up on time. You begin to respect your own existence, and others follow suit. So don't wait for the world to change. Start small. Start with what's right in front of you. Tidy up. Create beauty. Create order. That's where meaning begins. That's how momentum is built. And before you know it, that clean room becomes the foundation for a life that's no longer dictated by chaos, but by purpose. Because when you put your space in order, you're taking the first courageous step toward getting your entire act together. Confront the chaos voluntarily. Chaos is unavoidable, but facing it voluntarily transforms it into opportunity. Avoidance leads to suffering. Courage in the face of chaos builds strength, meaning, and competence. There's something quietly heroic about taking responsibility, especially when no one's asking you to. And I'm not talking about grand gestures. I'm talking about one thing today, something small, something manageable, something you've been avoiding. That's where change starts. That's how transformation begins. Maybe it's doing the dishes, returning that phone call, apologizing to someone you hurt, or finally opening the envelope you've been ignoring. Whatever it is, it's not just a task, it's a challenge. It's a test of your integrity. When you pick up one responsibility and follow through, you're proving to yourself that you're capable of bearing the weight of your own life. That's no small thing. Responsibility isn't a burden, it's a path. And oddly enough, the more you take on, the stronger you become. You stop feeling like a victim of your circumstances and start becoming an architect of your future. It's about reclaiming your power, not by demanding more from the world, but by expecting more from yourself. And don't be surprised if this one small act starts to ripple out. You start with one responsibility and suddenly you're organizing your day differently. You speak with more confidence. You handle stress with more resilience. Because when you know you can rely on yourself, when you've proven that through action, you stop waiting for life to change and you start changing yourself. So what's one thing today you can take responsibility for? Not 10, not 5, 1. Make it count. Do it with intention. Because when you carry what is yours to carry, you grow stronger, you get clearer, you move forward, and step by step you start getting your act together, not by force, but by the quiet discipline of doing the next right thing. Define your ideal, then aim at it. Set a vision. A clearly articulated aim gives your life direction and purpose. Without an aim, you're lost. Decide who you want to become and walk toward that ideal, one step at a time. It might sound cliche at this point, clean your room, but it's not about tidying up for the sake of appearances. It's about order. It's about creating a space where you can think clearly, act purposefully, and begin to rebuild a sense of control over your life. When your external world is in chaos, it reflects and reinforces the chaos within. But when you take 15 minutes to put things in order, you're not just organizing your belongings, you're practicing self-respect. You're saying, this space matters, I matter, my life is worth bringing order to. And the act itself, as simple as it seems, is a declaration. I am capable of creating structure. I am capable of doing something difficult and finishing it. The room becomes symbolic. It's the place you wake up, think, rest, dream, and when it's in disarray, your mind feels cluttered too. You're overwhelmed before the day even begins. But the moment you start picking up that shirt, tossing out that trash, wiping down the desk, something shifts. It's not just cleanliness, it's clarity. And in that clarity, you find a foothold. You get momentum. And from there, you might clean your kitchen. Then organize your schedule. Then reach out to that person you've been meaning to call. Each action builds on the last. Because here's the truth. If you can't even bring order to the space you inhabit, what makes you think you can bring order to the world? Start small. Start where you are. Prove to yourself that you can take care of your immediate reality, and that competence will radiate outward. So yes, clean your room, not because someone told you to, but because it's a signal to yourself that you're ready to move forward, 1 square foot at a time. Take responsibility for everything you can. Responsibility is where meaning lives. Don't wait for someone to save you. Take ownership, even for things that aren't your fault, and you will grow into someone who can carry the weight of life with strength and integrity. When you lie, even small, seemingly harmless ones, you fracture something deep within your psyche. You create a gap between who you are and who you're pretending to be. And the more you do it, the harder it becomes to tell where the truth ends and the mask begins. But here's the thing, you can't build a solid life on shaky ground. Lies rot the foundation of your character. They erode trust, not just with others, but with yourself. If you say you're going to do something and you don't, if you tell yourself everything's fine when you're quietly falling apart, you're training your brain to tolerate deception. And the more you do that, the more lost you become. Stopping the lies starts with brutal honesty. Not with the world, with yourself. Ask the real questions. What am I afraid of? What am I running from? What am I pretending not to know? It's uncomfortable, it's humbling, but it's necessary, because the truth, however painful, is where growth begins. You don't have to become perfectly truthful overnight. Start small. The next time you're tempted to make an excuse, don't. If you failed, own it. If you're scared, admit it. There's profound power in saying, I don't know, or I'm not okay. That's real, that's human, and that's where healing starts. When you begin living honestly, something beautiful happens. Your words carry more weight. People trust you, you trust you. Your internal world aligns with your external actions, and suddenly you're no longer at war with yourself. Truth is a compass. It doesn't always point where you want to go, but it points where you need to go. And the sooner you stop lying to yourself, the sooner you'll start living a life you can actually stand behind. So stop lying. Tell the truth. Not because it's easy, but because it's the only path to freedom. Tell the truth, or at least don't lie. Lies corrupt your soul. They distort reality. Even if the truth is painful, it's the only path to genuine progress. Begin by speaking honestly with yourself. It sounds simple, almost too simple, but clean up your room isn't just about tidying your desk or folding clothes. It's about reclaiming agency in a chaotic world. It's a call to begin mastering your environment so you can begin mastering yourself. When life feels overwhelming, when anxiety creeps in and everything feels out of control, your instinct may be to look outward, blame the system, the circumstances, the people around you. But that's a trap, because real power starts in the micro, in your space, in your habits, in the little things you have direct influence over right now. Your room is a reflection of your mind. If your environment is cluttered, it's likely your thoughts are too. But the beauty is this: when you start cleaning it, organizing, throwing out the unnecessary, creating order, you're simultaneously training your brain to create order out of internal chaos. You're not just cleaning your room, you're cleaning up your life, one drawer at a time. And when you do this consistently, you begin to build something else, momentum. You prove to yourself that you're capable of taking responsibility. You stop waiting for the world to fix itself and start fixing what's within your reach. That changes everything. Don't wait until you feel ready to get your act together. Start with what you can control, your space, your schedule, your choices, because the truth is, you can't take on the world if you can't even take care of your room. But once you can, you're not just a passive observer of life anymore. You're a participant, a builder, a force. So if everything feels like it's falling apart, don't panic. Just start where you are. Clean up your room, create order, then expand that order into your relationships, your goals, your future. That's how you take control. That's how you begin to transform your life. One corner at a time. Become someone people can rely on. Don't aim to be harmless. Aim to be strong, and then control it. Be someone others can count on when the storm hits. That's the kind of person who holds societies together. Taking responsibility is not about blame. It's not about beating yourself up or carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. It's about power. Real, grounded, personal power. Because the moment you stop seeing yourself as a victim of your circumstances and start seeing yourself as an agent of change, that's the moment your life begins to shift. In daily life, this means looking at every situation and asking, what part of this can I own? What can I do differently right now that will move things forward? Maybe it's how you respond to a setback, how you speak in a difficult conversation, or how you show up when things get hard. Owning your response, that's the beginning of growth. It's easy to point fingers, to say it's my upbringing, it's the system, it's not fair. And maybe some of that is true. Life is unfair. But staying in that mindset won't change it. Responsibility says, regardless of how it started, it's up to me how it ends. That's where your strength is. You don't have to change everything at once, but you can take one thing, your morning routine, your attitude at work, the way you speak to your partner, and say, I'll take full responsibility for this. And when you do, something profound happens. You stop being a passive character in your own story. You become the author. You can't always control what happens to you, but you can control your character, your courage, your discipline, your effort. And those things, they create ripple effects that change not just your life, but the lives of those around you. So stop waiting for someone to rescue you. No one's coming. But you are more capable than you know. Accept responsibility, not because it's easy, but because it's the path to freedom. And freedom, real freedom, starts with you. Discipline your habits, master your days. Structure breeds freedom. When your time is managed, your goals are reachable. Build systems in your life that move you toward your ideal self, even when motivation runs dry. Life is chaos by default. It's unpredictable. It throws curveballs when you least expect them. But here's the truth. Within every bit of chaos, there's an invitation to bring order. And the first place you start isn't the world, it's your immediate environment. It's you. You want to build a strong life? Then build a strong foundation. That starts with your habits, your space, your thinking. Clean your room, yes, literally, but also metaphorically. Get your life in order, piece by piece, because every time you bring order to one corner of your life, you push back against the chaos. You begin to shape your world rather than be shaped by it. Apply it to your daily routine. Wake up at the same time, make your bed, set a schedule, choose one small thing each day to organize your workspace, your diet, your finances. These aren't small things. They're symbolic acts of mastery. They tell your subconscious, I am capable of structure. I am capable of leadership. I'm not at the mercy of disorder. When your outer world becomes more structured, your inner world begins to reflect it. Your mind becomes clearer, your decisions sharper, your stress less overwhelming. Order gives you the psychological clarity to face bigger challenges and face them with confidence. But don't wait until everything is calm to act. Start in the storm. Start because of the storm. Chaos is the raw material from which you forge meaning, and when you willingly step into it with the intention to bring structure, you grow. So when life feels overwhelming, remember, you're not here to avoid chaos. You're here to tame it, to build, to lead, to transform. One step at a time, one decision at a time, you become the architect of your own life. Because the person who brings order to chaos, that person becomes unstoppable. Stop comparing, start climbing. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. Progress isn't linear, but it's yours. Make small improvements daily and watch how far you rise. You've probably heard it said, what you resist persists. The dragon, your fear, your failure, your trauma, your doubt, doesn't go away just because you close your eyes. In fact, the longer you avoid it, the larger it grows. It lurks in the shadows, quietly influencing your choices, your mindset, your future. But there's something deeply transformative about turning around, squaring your shoulders, and walking straight into that fire. Voluntarily, not because you're forced, but because you've made a conscious decision to confront what scares you. That's where courage is born. You want to grow? You want to feel stronger, more confident, more capable? Then start identifying the dragons in your life, those difficult conversations, the project you've been avoiding, the truth you don't want to face, and face them head on, one at a time, not recklessly, but willingly. This is how you begin to transform, because the dragon is not just an enemy, it guards the treasure. Behind fear is your potential. Behind pain is wisdom. On the other side of confrontation is freedom. And by voluntarily walking into the very thing you fear, you gain something you never had before: power. Daily application: look for small dragons. Speak the truth when it's hard. Do the uncomfortable thing when avoidance feels easier. Hold eye contact when you feel insecure. Finish the task that challenges your self-worth. You'll find that every time you face something hard, your self-respect grows, and so does your capacity. We all have dragons, but the hero, the person worth becoming, is the one who walks toward them willingly, not just to fight, but to reclaim what's been lost: strength, purpose, meaning. Because at the heart of every great life is this principle: the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. So go, face it. That's how you become someone you're proud of. So, what's the cost of not getting your act together? It's simple: a life left unlived. The price is your potential, your peace, and your purpose. But the good news? You don't have to stay there. Start small. Take responsibility for one thing today: your space, your habits, your words, and build on that. Brick by brick, you create order out of chaos. If this message struck a chord, let me know. Drop a comment below and tell me, what's the one thing you're committing to take control of this week? And if you're ready to dive even deeper into building a stronger, more resilient mindset, the next video in this playlist is exactly what you need. Click it now, because the path forward starts with the next step. Before you try to change the world, put your own house in order. Order your environment, and you begin to order your mind. It's a practical first step toward reclaiming control and responsibility over your life.